What up, Cucks? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece, and I want to do a SummerSlam review. Starting off with the first match, we had Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Now, I gotta give credit where credit's due, alright? Ricochet, for what he is probably the best at what he does. I mean, in a world of like Will Ospreays and Santos Escobar and all these other people that flip around and jump around, Ricochet is the number one. But if there was another number one, it would probably be Logan Paul. I personally think that Logan Paul is one of the best wrestlers objectively on the WWE roster. The primary reason for this is that this guy has had minimal training, yet he kept up with Ricochet. And as far as I've seen, he has yet to botch even one move in his entire run. So, the match was great. Basically, it was your flippy match, but Logan Paul did a lot of moves. He countered a lot of moves, and the finish was pretty damn great. The finish was after Ricochet misses his 630, some jabron comes up and gives Logan Paul brass knucks. Logan Paul then uses those brass knucks to knock out Ricochet and pin him 1, 2, 3. The right man won, and the match was great. During this match, I took a brief count of the moves. Logan Paul did a buckshot lariat from the outside to the inside. He took a Spanish fly and tried his own Spanish fly, which was countered, but it was countered into like a full flip, so I counted as a move. He did various springboard type maneuvers, standing moonsault, an alley-oop. He went for a power bomb. He did a crossbody. He did the brass knucks. I mean, he went for his little punch. He did the what was it called? The Hogan Paul, which is like a leg drop thing that he does. You know what I mean? Like, he did more moves in this match than Nakamura and Daniel Bryan have done in their entire careers combined. So as far as I'm concerned, not Cody Rhodes. We'll talk about that in a second, motherfuckers. Logan Paul, in my opinion, he did really good. This match was easily a 5-star match. I really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Next up, we had Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. So Brock Lesnar comes out first, and then afterwards, John Cena comes out, but the music is a little bit different. So, the entire match, Brock Lesnar is beating the hell out of John Cena, right? He throws John Cena to the outside, and John Cena makes it back into the ring with like 6 seconds of the referee's count. In other words, with 4 seconds left. So then, Brock Lesnar throws Cena out of the ring again, and Cena comes back with 3 seconds left. Then the same thing happens 2 or 3 more times until he comes back at a count of 9. Then Brock Lesnar, this is a singles match, mind you, it's not a no DQ match. Brock Lesnar destroys Cena once again, and then John Cena does something that's not characteristic of John Cena. He picks up the steel steps and hits Lesnar in the shoulder. Long story short, he slams Lesnar into the turnbuckle several times. He tries to do the Kimura on Lesnar. Then afterwards, John Cena hits several Cody cutters, and then John Cena hits 3 crossroads and pins Brock Lesnar, right? In other words, John Cena beats Brock Lesnar after no-selling everything and pulling your classic Cena no-selling arc. Now, with that being said, in the end, Brock Lesnar and Cena become friends, which I thought was stupid, but it is what it is, right? I thought this match was atrocious. Obviously, I know what they're going for. They want us to like John Cena a lot, but just like it happened in the past, people are going to once again turn on John Cena. All right, and yeah, I didn't particularly like this. I thought it was a little bit hacky, and quite honestly, I mean, if you ask me, I really thought it went on too long. And it was predictable. John Cena had already lost to Brock Lesnar once. So it was time for John Cena to win, And then the fact that they became friends is just a way to rehabilitate Lesnar and to just present him now as as a face. All of a sudden, he's a face again. John Cena stays a face, and this sets up John Cena's redemption arc. Now, the recent John Cena documentary on Peacock showed, and I think really ruined the whole mystique, because it's very evident now that John Cena is going to win the title probably at WrestleMania. So we're now what's now? Oh, we're in early August, and we may as well just skip this next WrestleMania, because it seems like the main event's going to be John Cena versus Lesnar, with John Cena winning, motherfucks. And there you have it. And after the match, we have this boring, 10-minute vignette about Becky Lynch. Oh, she's a game changer. I don't like Becky Lynch. I don't think she changed anything. Cuts. Anyways, next up we have the Meaningless Battle Royal of 45 wrestlers, right? Now, the vast majority of the people involved here are complete and utter jobbers, like Karrion Kross or Grayson Waller. So it's you know that about 80% of these people have a 0% chance, and the rest have a 1% chance, whereas LA Knight has an 85 to 90% chance of winning. Now, given what this was, it wasn't completely horrible, right? There was a few good moments in this. Number one, Chad Gable rules. Number two, Omos gets introduced as a last-minute entrant. So, you know he's going to have a good showing, but the fans don't like him, so he gets booed, right? Then, beyond this, there was one moment that I liked where The Miz and Grayson Waller do a move. It's a skull-crushing finale to basically Grayson Waller was going to go for the little rolling stunner that he does, but instead he just did a jumping flatliner, right? Because he's just so bad he doesn't even know his own move. So after that jobber Grayson Waller gets thrown out and The Miz gets thrown out, we're left with LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Sheamus. In other words, the only three wrestlers in this match that have any reason to exist in this company. Everyone else could easily be fired tomorrow, and not one person would notice, nor would one person care. At the end, AJ Styles is going to go for the phenomenal forearm, and Karrion Kross, with his new shitty haircut, comes and grabs his leg, right? This distracts and prevents AJ Styles from doing anything for just enough time for Sheamus to hit him with the bro kick and eliminate him. Then Sheamus and LA Knight have a nice little back and forth, which culminates with LA Knight doing a top rope belly to belly and then clotheslining Sheamus out. Now, LA Knight wins. The crowd's going nuts. Obviously, LA Knight deserves a push. But personally, I don't really care that he won this match because there was nothing on the line. It was literally just a battle royal for no reason. You know, in my opinion, if you wanted to put LA Knight over, you could have given him a 10-minute match against someone legit, right? Someone that's supposed to be good. Now, I know there's nobody else that's good that's not already booked, right? Everyone else is basically a jobber. But still, you can try to figure that out, right? Nevertheless, the match was kind of boring for the most part. It had some good moments, but I personally didn't really care. The fact that LA Knight won does not, in my opinion, really do anything for LA Knight, right? He's already over. This was just a moment for the fans to lose their minds for a little bit. And for what it was decent. In my opinion, you could have just made this for the United States title and just had LA Knight become the United States champion at minimum, right? And use that as a reason to put him on TV. Austin Theory has done absolutely nothing with the U.S. title. Half the time, I forget that he's the U.S. champion and that Gunther is the Intercontinental champion. I don't care, right? Now, insofar as what we've seen, the matches thus far were a mixture of really good, the first match. The second match was bad, and this was like a mid-level match. But the problem is, now the next match is Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler, right? And then beyond this, we have to look forward to other skippable matches like Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. So I might go take a shit or something while these matches go on, is what I was telling myself, because who wants to see this crap? You know what I'm saying? I mean, as predicted, this Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler match, nobody cared. People were booing. It was this weird MMA style fight. Well, so what? You know what I mean? Here's why it sucks, right? It doesn't matter if Shayna wins or if Ronda wins. Nobody cares, right? It doesn't matter. What's the difference tomorrow or Friday or whenever the fuck these broads go on TV? What's the difference if one of them wins and the other loses? Nothing at all. So why in the blue hell would anybody even want to watch this? I think the answer is nobody did want to watch this, but yet here we are. I mean, what can you do about this, right? In my opinion, absolutely nothing, and just deal with it. You know what I mean? Luckily, we got this crap out of the way, and now the event can go on. However, as I said a few moments ago, the fact is there's at least 2 matches left that nobody cares about. The Asuka match and the Gunther match. I can't think of anything more boring. I don't care if Gunther versus Drew McIntyre is a 10-star match. You know what I mean? Or even if the Bianca Belair was a 10-star match. It is not interesting. Nobody wants to see this. Drew McIntyre is done. I mean, I don't care if he wins. I don't care if Gunther wins. I don't care if anything happens. Right? And as expected, the match starts and nobody really cares. I mean, let's be honest, right? Does anyone really care if Drew McIntyre becomes Intercontinental Champion after he's actually won the WWE title 2 times? No, motherfuckers. Nobody cares at all. But anyways, the match has to go on regardless of this fact. The match is your average, boring Gunther match. You know, the more time goes by, the more I turn on this jobber. All right? First of all, everything he does looks like shit. I mean, let's be real, right? He goes for this top rope splash, and then Drew McIntyre counters it. Then eventually he does the top rope splash at the end of the match, and basically it's just him climbing the top turnbuckle, and he doesn't even jump. He just kind of like falls over. He just like hobbles over and falls on Drew McIntyre, picks him up, does a clothesline, then does the powerbomb, which, by the way, if we're being objective, I know everyone loves Gunther. He has the worst powerbomb in powerbomb history. I don't even understand how this is like okay as a finisher. It's just this shitty looking powerbomb. It never looks the same twice in a row. It's always different, right? I know that that's what he's going for, kind of, right? That he's going for this, like, you know, nothing pretty going on here, which was interesting because during the match, they made this completely ridiculous and unwarranted comparison between skinny fat Gunther and Brock Lesnar, right? And then Corey Graves, who is horrible at his job, he's like, well, Brock Lesnar is more of a smash mouth style, nothing pretty about what he does, whereas Gunther can do so many things. No, he can't, motherfuckers. No, he can't. Brock Lesnar is 100 times better in the ring than Gunther, and he's 100 times more entertaining. You know, Gunther does like these moves, like if you play WWE Attitude, right, on PlayStation 1, it's like every move that Gunther does was in that game, right? There's not one move that this guy doesn't do that people didn't do in the 1960s, right? He does clotheslines, chops, a horrible, botchy-looking powerbomb, and then the top rope splash is the worst splash I've ever seen in my life. Like, this guy has Vladimir Kozlov written all over him, and people are hyping him up like he's the next, you know, like Randy Orton or John Cena. He's just another guy, you know what I mean? Like, on the pre-show, Booker T was like, I think Gunther might be the best European wrestler of all time. What? Sheamus is like a 5-time champion who's main evented WrestleMania, you know what I mean? Gunther is an intercontinental jobber, right, who has done absolutely nothing. So that's just like a ridiculous, you know, blowing him out of proportion, right? Now, I like Gunther, but he's boring, motherfuckers. He and Drew McIntyre are both boring now. So I didn't care about this match at all. If I'm being 100% honest, I kind of fell asleep a little bit, right? Then, did I forget about, I almost forgot. We already talked about the Shayna Baszler match. That's how crazy I'm going, motherfuckers. Then next up, we had Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Now, this match, again, for what it was okay, right? It was a decent match. But the problem is this. First of all, Seth Rollins comes out looking like the bad guy from Wreck-It Ralph. Then Finn Balor comes out and he has the word 7 written on his shoulder. And it's like the lamest thing you could ever do, right? Finn Balor's already lame, but this makes him even lamer, right? This guy has no idea what being cool is, but he does this. And the significance is that it's been 7 years since Seth Rollins injured him. Now they're having a match for a different title, right? I mean, they've wrestled since then. It's not like they haven't seen each other in 7 years. They've had feuds over the Intercontinental title, and now they're having feuds over another Intercontinental title. You know what I mean? This is not the Universal Championship, right? Nobody cares about this title. It feels like a mid-card jobber title. But anyways, the finish was pretty good. It's exactly the finish you'd expect, right? Damian Priest comes up, causes a distraction. Finn Balor gets stomped by Seth Rollins. onto the briefcase, and Seth Rollins pins him. Nobody follows up. Like, Damian Priest doesn't go in and just attack and destroy Seth Rollins. He just stays there looking at him like a loser from the outside. The worst part of this match, by far, was after the match, Seth Rollins is leaning next to a fan, and everyone's singing his little theme song, and the fans just like singing right at Seth Rollins. It was very weird and uncomfortable to watch. It's like a one grown man serenading another man with his own theme song. It was very strange. I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I was just like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this is creepy. You know what I mean? Like, why is this fan like singing at Seth Rollins his own theme music? It's just weird. But anyways, next up, we had easily, this match, motherfucks, pissed me off, I'll tell you. This match was the worst match, definitely of the night. But I think it was the worst match maybe ever. This match was just atrocious from beginning to the end. The number of botches that this match had, in my opinion, is enough to justify never having a women's wrestling match again, right? The experiment has failed. Since we had this women's revolution pushed down our throats, I was thinking during the match, how much shit wrestling have we had to tolerate during this time? You know what I mean? We've had to put up with so much bad wrestling, right? Just because, oh, women should be given a chance. There's a few good ones, like Rhea Ripley is pretty good in the ring, but everyone in this match is not good in the ring, even Charlotte. The amount of botches that happened in this match were insane. Like, there's so many moves where like Charlotte did a moonsault like from the inside to the outside. She completely missed. Asuka had to fall down for no reason. Another similar thing happened in the ring. I forget what the move was, but like Charlotte did a flip, like a backflip basically, to sell the move, but nothing happened in the move. Then Bianca Belair has this ridiculous comeback, right, that rivals John Cena earlier tonight. And the worst part of this is Bianca Belair wins for no reason. You know, Charlotte Flair is a 14-time world champion, and given the fact that the next thing that happened was Io Shirai coming in and cashing in and winning, becoming the new champion, you could have had this be Charlotte's 15th title reign. She's going to get to 16 anyways. You may as well have wasted one here so we don't have to see her for that much longer. You know what I mean? But they chose what they chose. Io Sky comes out with Bayley, and then eventually after Io Sky wins, Dakota Kai, motherfucks, comes back and also celebrates with them. And yeah, I didn't particularly like this. I thought it was a complete waste of time. But because the match was so bad and no one really cared about it at all, it did get everyone excited for the main event, motherfucks. Tribal Combat. So after about 15 minutes to get both Jey Uso and Roman Reigns in the ring, the match starts. Now, the match, in my personal opinion, was extremely boring because, quite honestly, nothing that happened mattered until Solo Sikoa got out, right? We all knew at some point some storyline element would happen. Now, knowing this with a certainty is kind of defeating the purpose because then you're just waiting for that to happen, right? It doesn't matter like what they're doing in the ring. They're going to exchange their little moves. Jey Uso could barely lift Roman Reigns, etc., etc. Eventually they go to the crowds. Solo Sikoa comes out, destroys Jey Uso. Now, within the context of this match, this made sense, but it was a little bit unfortunate because it's like, yo, can Jey Uso catch a fucking break? You know what I'm saying? Can any Roman Reigns opponent catch a fucking break? But anyways, the match is going on. Eventually, of course, Jey Uso comes back and he has a moment. Now, I personally thought that Roman Reigns was going to kick out of the spear and Uso splash, like, no problem. I was like, there's a 0% chance he's getting pinned. And I was right in the sense that he didn't get pinned, but he didn't kick out. What happened was Jimmy Uso came and stopped the pin. Now, you know, it wasn't clear that it was Jimmy Uso because he was wearing a hood, but you could see his hands, and his hands were brown. And first of all, there aren't that many, you know, Samoan wrestlers that have that skin complexion in the company. And furthermore, it's like, it's either someone new or it's Jimmy Uso, right? Like, who would it be? Jinder Mahal? You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have to be someone that's related to the story. Now, though the point is, this happened, the fans reacted. Jimmy Uso kicks Jey Uso in the face, throws him in the ring. Roman Reigns spears him through a table, pins him 1, 2, 3, the end. Michael Cole loses his mind. Now, here's the problem with this, right? The entire premise of Jey Uso turning on Roman Reigns was predicated upon the fact that Jimmy Uso wanted to turn on Roman Reigns, right? So the idea that now Jimmy Uso changed his mind and basically threw his brother under the bus for absolutely no reason makes no sense, right? It could be this like long-standing jealousy angle, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I've hated you since like, you became main event. That's what it's going to be, right? Like, the next feud is obviously Jimmy versus Jey Uso, and the feud there is basically that. It's like, oh, I resented you because, when I was injured, you became like main event Jey Uso, basically, right? But it's like, that's fine and dandy, but in the context of the Bloodline Civil War, all of this basically happened specifically happened because Jimmy Uso. He's the one that turned on Roman Reigns first, and Jey Uso was forced to follow, right? So then him turning on Jey Uso didn't make any sense. Now, the match beyond that was just another Bloodline match. I thought it was hampered by the fact that there's absolutely 0% chance that Jey Uso was going to win, barring, Roman Reigns breaks his leg in the middle of the match and, they have to improvise. But, it was almost a little silly how Jey Uso was overcoming both Roman Reigns, who is now arguably the best wrestler of all time, and Sol Sikoa, who's, presented as a bigger deal than him in the long run, right? This would be, if, let's say, one day Undertaker was the WWE champion and he had to defend against Crash Holly, right? And then Hardcore Holly came out, and Crash Holly was beating up both Hardcore Holly and Undertaker, right? And, you expect this to be believable, but, it's ridiculous, right? Except this is even more unbelievable because Crash Holly had actually won several singles titles, and The Undertaker did not have, a 3-year reign as the top guy. So this is actually more unbelievable. But otherwise, I thought the event was quite average. I wouldn't watch it again. I expected a little bit more, to be honest. There was no Randy Orton or anything like that. I don't really care about that. I don't really care about Randy Orton, but it would have been nice to see, I guess, at this point. But anyways, motherfuckers, what'd you guys think? Let your boy know up in this bitch.